And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
It's Saturday morning, and as most Pennsylvanians are preparing for Christmas and enjoying the cooler weather, several are heading to the Big Apple for the Pennsylvania Society weekend. And each year, Pennsylvania celebrates being Pennsylvanian in the city of New York, where a little bit over a century ago, some Pennsylvanians who were displaced by the Pennsylvania Railroad having been built to New York, and they were the landed gentry of the day, got together to celebrate their common roots of Pennsylvanians. And the Pennsylvania Society of New York, that's why we have it in New York, was born, and for the last 100 years it has been the gathering place for the business and political and educational leaders of the Commonwealth. So next week we'll tell you what happened, but right now it's going on. And back at home, Larry Krasner has been impeached, and the impeachment proceedings have begun on the Senate side. It's a rarely used provision under Pennsylvania law. The last time it was trotted out was roughly 30 years ago when a Supreme Court Justice, Ralph Larson, was impeached and removed from office. It's going to be interesting to see how this trial goes. In the Senate, the Republicans obviously have a majority, but whether or not they have a majority sufficient to remove Larry Krasner from office is another question altogether. But the people of Philadelphia ultimately have to be watching this stuff, and perhaps this will put an additional spotlight on a problem that has been festering there for a long time. Krasner came into office as one of these George Soros-supported district attorneys from around the country who basically pledged to look the other way on too many occasions and to use the power of their office and the influence of their office to direct things like defunding the police, etc., those kinds of initiatives, rather than focusing on taking on violent criminals. And as a result, the homicide rates, the carjacking rates, etc., in Philadelphia have gone through the roof. And people are in serious concern about their personal safety. And when you're scared about your personal safety, it becomes a really big political issue. And also here in the state, there's increased wrangling over who's actually going to control the Pennsylvania House of Representatives when they reconvene in January. It now appears as though the special election necessary to fill the seat vacated by the untimely death of Tony DeLuca will be at an earlier possible date rather than a later possible date, but there are still two other special elections that will be necessary to fill vacancies created by resignations because of members elected to other offices, Summer Lee to the Congress of the United States and Austin Davis as Lieutenant Governor. So a lot of inter-party and intra-party play going on there. On the national level, Hakeem Jeffries is elected as the Democrat leader. That's the minority leader in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. What's fascinating about that is that this guy is an election denier. You know, we hear all this stuff about Republicans that had problems with the 2020 election. We don't hear so much about Democrats that denied the election of Donald Trump in 2016, or Stacey Abrams, who still hasn't conceded her race from 4 years ago, etc. And these are also folks that put tremendous pressure on duly elected electors to try to get them to break the law and to cast their vote for Hillary Clinton rather than Donald Trump in 2016. You can bet as well as I can that we won't hear much about that in the media, however. And moving from the state to the national to the international scene, as you're watching this, the United States is in the knockout round of the World Cup, taking on the Netherlands in the first round of the real playoff for who will get the World Cup in 2022. My native land, Brazil, continues to be the dominant favorite, but the favorites are getting knocked out with increasing regularity in this World Cup. It's much like the NCAA basketball tournament in March. March Madness, now November Madness, it's all a lot of fun. And as we move deeper into the holiday season, to everyone, a very, very, very blessed, happy, wonderful, and Merry Christmas. Because for now, that is the best 60 seconds of your week.